everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel for our part
Two.
2.
This is a continuation of you've come to the Philippines and now you've met your fiance or girlfriend, you've spent some time here, you've enjoyed each other's company, you've met the family, you seem like you're compatible, and now you consider staying. That you're going to look for a place together.
ATM, bro.
We'll discuss the ATM because that does cause some issues. Understand when you have to pay for something, you have a limit on how much you can take out of an ATM. Most of the time, before
in your country, usually you use ATMs, credit cards, right? Here, only few stores that they use as a
and plus,
credit cards.
In America, you're never going to have a $200 limit. It would be more like a 50,000 peso limit. We'd be able to take out 1,000 at a time. A lot of time when you set up your card in America, they ask you, what's your limit? In case you get stolen, there's a limit that they can take out. So that was a hard thing when you looking for an apartment, because understand it's trying to change a little bit now during this pandemic, but this is a cash society. And so
an ATM, you can only withdraw 10,000 pesos.
$200
for transactions.
Right.
So you need to withdraw another 10,000. That will be a 2-time charge.
Right.
Every time you do a withdrawal, there's always a charge.
And that equals out to about $7.50 between your charge from America and your charge here for the ATM. It can get weather expensive. If you do like 5 transactions, you're already out $30–40. So just understand that with the ATMs, and you better make sure it's a reputable ATM. We have known many horror stories of people using an ATM and not getting their money.
But now, if you'll use a cash, it's better for you to use the Zoom.
Right, to transfer the money. I feel a lot safer. I still have that moment when I'm putting my card in at the ATM going, please, Lord, let my money come out. Because we've just heard so many horror stories, and then the banks here are not customer friendly. They will always go in the bank's favor. And I know this for a fact from several different expats that said they've had issues that they've had to use their bank back home to help fight for them to get their money. So just understand that if you Zoom
is very secured and very fast. As long as you hit the enter, it will notify you in the phone that you can withdraw the money.
But no, we had 2 problems with Zooms, and I got my money. They fixed it. They reimbursed my account, and I was able to resend the money with no problem. So like I said, ATM should be your last resort. We have it set up where I get my Zoom money sent to her ATM, the BDO of hers, and then there's no charge. She can take the money out. So that's just a convenient way for us to save about $7 on every transaction. So under this video,
on my case, since he is sending money from overseas, your girlfriend or your spouse can open a bank account with with 100 charge. We call that the kabayan, as long as the transactions sending from overseas.
So what basically this video now is, you've decided this is going to work out for you, and you're going to stay. You feel like you can manage the food, you can manage the family, you can manage the different cultures, you can manage the language. So now you're going to look for an apartment. Well, my strong advice to anybody doing that is use multiple resources. Your girlfriend or fiance is going to have friends that she knows that they're going to tell her where they know there's apartments at. You have to understand that's a Filipino's standard of what they're looking for. You may have a Western standard. We had a lot of issues when we first started looking, because she had, in English we call it sticker shock, because my budget was higher at that time because I had a good job. And I would say, I'm looking for this. You go, Baba Bear, that's 20,000 pesos. Like I said, baby, I have to have hot water. I have to have, electricity that I can depend on. A building, the first condo we stayed in had generators, so we never really had a brownout. I mean, we always had power. So when you understand that, when you come here, you have
first the
budget.
Amount that you can afford.
Yeah, what you're going to budget. You
can choose different if you want from expensive to the lower.
But understand, you pretty much get what you pay for. So understand that when you go in looking, Marketplace on Facebook is a good place to look. You get a variety. You can put it in the city. You can put it in the amount that you're looking to spend. A friend from the church or wherever they work at to refer. There's also several expat communities here that you can put online that you're looking for a place to stay. Now, the only thing I will say with most of the ones I see on there, they're always in the Cebu area or maybe Dumaguete or the Makati area. And
just the places is safe.
yeah, that's why they're picking those out, and they're paying a premium for it. I just saw one last night, basic one-bedroom apartment, sort of like the one we had overlooking Manila. I'm not sure what part of the city it is, 40,000 pesos, over $800. You don't need to do that route. You can find safer areas for $200 and $300.
You can use some of your money for traveling and not just spending for a very expensive.
Be house poor, we call that in English. You're house poor. You're spending all your money on your house and
but of
utilities.
course, you're the one who will decide
Right.
which one you like.
Right. So when you start looking, don't grab the first one, because we actually lucked up both times. Because we went the other day and looked at a place to rent, and we liked it. It was okay. I was concerned about the neighbors, but it was okay. It was close to where her new work was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But like I showed her, when we walked out to the street, that's already a good little walk up this big hill. There's nothing there. So you can't just, like right now,
You need to ride the tricycle to go to the store.
but we don't have to do anything. We can walk right the street right now where we're at, and there's an Alpha Mart, and we can grab a Coke, get some chips or some bread or eggs. Whatever we need is right here. There's something right at the end of the street.
It's just a walking distance if you want.
And when we were at Manila, I wanted ultimate convenience, because I was leaving her by herself with no car and all this other stuff when I had to go back to America. So I wanted her to have everything. So the condominium she had a hospital on the 3rd floor where we were at. She had all her ATMs there. She had security there. She had everything directly across the street. 3 malls. She had every kind of food place imaginable, plus all the vendors in the
very
park.
convenient.
So I didn't have any concerns when I left her there that she would have a struggle trying to, get something to eat.
He is thinking that I will struggle. I'm Philippine and I grow up
Well,
here in the Philippines.
what she doesn't understand is I didn't know any of that then. That's part of building a relationship over 7 years. You realize that she's very hard-headed. She can get things done. I have learned over 7 years she can live with or without me. She can survive with or without me. So that's always a positive thing to know that they're strong enough that they can survive. But when you're looking for your place to live, think about your comfort level at first. Now, like I said, we only have
check if there's a dogs around.
lots of
There's a very big issue on dogs.
Everybody thinks it's the roosters and the chickens. No, it's the dogs. It really is the dogs.
Yeah.
Especially when you have one that's a mouth that sounds like a siren that don't ever shut up. But when you pick, now I will tell you, in the condos you don't have to worry about that. They're very strict on that, because we had one neighbor one time in our condo. The dog started yapping. I picked up the phone and called down to the desk, and within 2 seconds, I never heard that dog again. So in the condos, you won't have that issue. So that's what I mean by you'll pay a premium to live in those places, and it'll be a lot smaller, but you don't have to worry about hot water or anything like that. You're going to have all that available to you. And most of them, like I said, you can be renting from an American. So when you want to do a place like that, you will have a contract. You need to get a lawyer, but please read your contract, because they don't do a lot of things like in America. You rent somewhere, but basically the landlord takes care of the property, and all you do is change out light bulb. That ain't the same here. Especially some of the landlords, they expect you to do everything. If there's any kind of issue with the building,
make sure that the contract, all the major problem will be shouldered by the landlord.
Right, and please understand that. Because just because you're in a third world doesn't mean that part in Manila, especially the lawyer.
You need to clarify everything on the contract.
Yeah. So always understand that wherever you're going to live, have a good lease. Make sure it's a lease. And the one thing about Philippines I will let you know is the longer your lease is, the better rate you get. A lot of people are desperate for money, especially now. So if you're willing to sign a 2 or 3 year lease, they'll come way down on the price. You may be looking at something that's 15,000 pesos, and if you sign a 3 year lease, they'll rent it to you for 10, 11, or 12,000. You probably save 20-30%. So always consider that.
I just don't know if it is the same in America. Here, if you will rent, there will be a 1 month advance and 1 month deposit.
Yeah, sometimes 2.
Sometimes 2 deposits.
Yeah. But you can negotiate that too, because the no works for both sides. You just say no. I'll pay you a month's deposit. If that ain't good enough, see you. Yeah, they want first and last month plus a deposit. So if it's $5,000, they normally want $15,000 up front before they let you move in.
They want the deposit because once the renter move out, that will be for it will take care of the electric bill and the water bill.
Yeah, it's the same in America, but in America they don't separate. In America they just keep it. I've never gotten a deposit back. I mean, I've rented since 1974. I've rented, so I've never 74, and I've never gotten the deposit. I was 15 years old when I got my first apartment at Shazam Place behind Bar Marche Mall in Baton Rouge. I was 15. They handed. She's saying I'm not born. I handed them the cash, and they let me move in. Wasn't all this stuff. But when you give a deposit, you just have to assume you can kiss that deposit goodbye, because I've never gotten money back. I mean, they always make up something where they had to repaint the living room or the dust on the ceiling. I don't know what it is, but they know you're not going to go get a lawyer because it costs more for the lawyer. So pretty much in America, when you give the deposit, kiss it goodbye. You're not going to get it back. In the same way here. They're going to, here at least some of them can be applied to your last utility bill and your last water bill, stuff like that.
Make sure that if you find an apartment, there is an internet, there is a water, because there are some certain areas that the pressure is very
drip. Well, we did one the other day. I couldn't get no water, and she liked the apartment. It was right in the subdivision next to us, and she liked it.
When you open the faucet, the water is very.
I even called the guy over. I said, it's like that. I'm going, you got to rent a place with somebody. How the hell you take a shower?
Yeah. Make sure of the electric, the water.
But that's also in the nice areas. Remember how many guys are doing Getty? We hear them talking about all the time that they go without water pressure sometimes 2 or 3 days. I can't even imagine that.
And the area is reached by the internet, because there are some certain areas that there is no internet.
That you better check.
You will go crazy if you have no internet.
You better check, because I'm telling you better know, because like I said, we were very lucky with the Sky, but they mean was it PLDT?
PLDT.
That's second best, and then there's another one.
Galaxy.
Yeah, Galaxy. But you may go into the area that has no internet. And
there is an area that there is no internet at all.
You better know, because you're just there now. You've already signed the lease. You got a lawyer.
We are very satisfied on our Sky internet, because that's the same internet we have in Manila.
Yeah.
So
Zero
the
problem.
first time we moved in here, that's the first one that I searched. But that time they have no internet, only TV.
Yeah, we didn't have either one, PLDT or ours.
And this area has no. They call it an open line. There's an open line in the subdivision, so. We sacrificed
5 years.
No, 4 years. 4 years without internet. We're just using a power bank.
A hotspot.
And it cost us a lot.
And it didn't work half the time.
Yeah.
So like me, when you come over here, you can watch American TV with this sling box you hear me talking about all the time.
You will spend 300, 400 pesos
just
just watching that.
I had to reload it. I could load it up for one time for the first half, and then during halftime, I would have to reload for the second half. So and that was just one ball game. So if you wanted to watch 2 games from back to back, you sometimes had to load 4 times just to watch 2 ball games. Like I said, with the Sky, we live on it. We don't even turn it off sometimes. It's on all day.
It's a good thing they extended now to have an internet.
So please check inside the apartment. Don't walk through it. Check the water, check everything, take your measurements, make sure you do measurements and all these kinds of things.
Check the security area.
Right, and then ask about the internet service, make them show you the internet service before you even consider it. Because you may love the apartment, it may look really nice, but what good is the apartment if it has no internet? No ability to get internet.
Especially nowadays, everything is internet, your mail.
All right, once you've here, like I said, you have in the city, easy. Jitney, buses, taxis, anywhere you want to go, everything. I walked everywhere. I mean, we had Shangri-La, Mall of Asia.
When you go down, you can easily call a taxi.
Right.
But if you live in a province,
then you got a problem.
Yeah. In the province, you will use a bus, you will use tricycle, and use a jeepney. And first, it's hard for you to go in the jeepney.
Still is.
Yeah.
Still
it's
is.
hard to ride in a jeepney.
If the back seat's not open in the jitney, I don't get on it. It's just too hard. I'm gonna crush everybody's foot trying to get to the inside. Yeah. And same way, I still think half of my back problem is from the tricycle. because when I ride on those, I have to sit on the back.
And most of the tricycle here is low.
And I have to hunch over, and then they for some reason they love speed bumps here. That is their favorite thing in
There's
the
a lot
world.
of
You go down our street, there's 6 speed bumps, and when you're on that tricycle and you're sitting on that metal thing on the back, and they hit you, and it's just so painful in your back. So just understand that.
That's
and
why
the buses we don't have right now. They haven't ran during this whole pandemic. We haven't seen a bus for us.
the bus stopped since March.
And the buses were great.
Bus.
The buses are air conditioned, very
Their
comfortable.
bus is very comfortable.
Very.
You have TV, you have aircon.
Very nice. Very big seats for me, my size. You know, me and her sits outside. I got plenty of room.
Better ride in the bus than the jeepney.
So if you live out in this area, so you may consider buying a car. You're not in America. Just remember that, or Britain or Europe. 2 things you should know from me telling you. If you buy a car here, a used car, you're going to pay 2 to 3 times what you'd have paid for it in America. An old raggedy car here is going to cost you
how much is a
$1,500 US, and I wouldn't have given them $500 for it in America. You know, so you
Yeah, even the old car is expensive.
because they're far and hard to find.
And better, this is a lesson for us. If you will buy a second-hand car, better bring a mechanic with you to check.
Yeah. And the sad part about it is here, you can't get a refund. If somebody does a piss poor job or you buy something that doesn't work, you're not getting a refund. You're
It's
just
hard
out
to
to,
get a refund.
it ain't hard, it's impossible.
It's
You know, it just ain't gonna happen. You know, so, and then,
The first time we saw the car, it's clean.
it was clean, very clean.
Very nice. It's a good in condition, but the problem was inside.
It was all internal, and the person knew it. It had many issues because when I took it to a repair shop in Lipa, the guy knew the car, and he laughed and he told me, he said we talked to this guy. He told him all the issues with the car, and he said he didn't want to spend the money. So that ain't me surmising. This was told to my face by the mechanic in Lipa. That I bought 2 new tires.
You know the person.
And he knew the guy.
Probably,
As soon as he saw the car, he knew the car.
The guy was the one who was changing his tires.
And he said, we told this guy. He had lots of. That's why he sold the car.
All of the parts is original since 1992. Never changed.
Right. And like I said, I know enough about cars, you know, and actually I know plenty about cars. That, you know, minor, this is a small engine, I wasn't really concerned. But that ain't the problem. You may know what's wrong with the car, you know, but you don't have the tools, you don't have the resources, and you get a mechanic, and you get a mechanic that's not honest or scrupulous. He does half-ass work. You go halfway down the street, but you just paid him, you know, $500 to fix it. It breaks again. Well, he ain't gonna give you any money back. He's gonna go, I don't know, you must have drove too fast, or whatever. He's gonna quickly blame you. You know, so my whole advice to you, if you can buy a decent car that's only 2 to 5 years old, same as in America, you know, try to stay in that range. You're gonna spend a little bit more, but you'll have a more dependable. Most expats here, everybody has a scooter or motorcycle. Very few have cars here, except the wealthy ones that live in a nice subdivision. And money's no object for them; they don't care. But if you can buy something that's 2 to 3 years old, like a Suzuki or a Honda or a Toyota, and be able to take it back to the dealership and get them to work on it. I've heard some horror stories there about how long they hold the vehicle for. But just understand, I had the head gasket fixed on my car 3 different times. You know, and you know,
the price we spent on that car is triple the price when you bought it.
Right, you know, just on repairs, and it's still parked on the side of the road. You know, so just understand, if you get an old car here, it costs a fortune. You know, and you have to pay cash. You know, as a foreigner, you're not going to come over here and get it financed. My advice that I've learned now, to be honest with you, the way I do it now is, I would take out a signature loan in America, get the cash sent over, and then just pay cash for a nicer vehicle here, and just have the loan through an American bank. You can get signature loans and stuff still. So my advice on a car: be very careful on a car. You might want to go with a scooter at first, out in the province.
Usually they use a scooter here because
Traffic.
to avoid traffic.
Yeah. But scooters are not really convenient for us, because when we go, it's normally for shopping, for groceries and stuff like that. And then we used to take the kids with us. Everywhere we went, we always took the kids. So I wanted a car. And we had other couples we used to hang out with, and we'd go out to dinner with when I first got here. So it was nice to have a car and go out. And there's nothing wrong with having a car. You can get a license here and everything else, but the main thing is being able to buy a nicer car is more important. Because these cars all have very small engines here. They don't have the big V8s like we do in America. These cars all have very small engines.
Old model car.
Now, my advice: you stay less than 6 to 8 years max.
You can see it in the outside is good and great, beautiful and everything.
It's the inside that matters. Just like a person, it's the inside that matters.
Yeah.
All right. Well, basically, this is just if you decide to stay, know where you're going to live. Know about the apartment, know about the services, especially the services. That's so crucial. And then, secondly, if you are going to be here and decide to buy a vehicle, understand there is no 1,800 pages of lawyers in the phone book here. It ain't like America where you just pick up. Well, I'll call a lawyer. No, that don't work here. You're just SOL, and you know what I mean by that. So just understand that if you do get a car here, try to get something relatively new, and don't get stuck with the headaches of having to replace every part. Literally every part of my car I've replaced, and it still ain't running. So
once
just
they
understand.
fix, there's another issue.
Murphy's Law at its finest.
Another issue on top of another issue on top of
But
another issue.
we hope you like this 2-part series about coming here and getting adjusted and adapting to a new culture. It has been a lot easier than I ever dreamed it would be. Sometimes I forget that I'm not in America. When I go outside until somebody starts speaking in Tagalog, I forget. I go up to the store. I just don't think about it anymore. It's not a part of my awareness that I'm in a country 10,000 miles away from America. I get up, me and her have breakfast together, we talk over things, we have coffee, I have YouTube, I watch highlights from sports shows, actually YouTube now has been showing live games, so I don't really feel anything. The only thing I really miss is my sons. I don't really miss the shenanigans going on in America. I like our lifestyle here.
The only thing we miss right now is travel.
Sausage. I miss the sausage.
Travel, Papa Bear.
Yeah,
because-
we've really
because
been
of this
grounded. We've been really
pandemic,
grounded. But hopefully we filled in some of the blanks for some of y'all that are thinking about coming over here for the first time. Please send us a comment or ask any questions. But that's why I did.
Below.
That's why I did this video. I want you to understand that. Take away the fear. It's not that fearful once you get over here. Just make sure you plan carefully and know what you're doing before you get on
Read
that airplane.
everything about Philippines.
Right. And make sure you know what you're doing when you get on that plane, and you'll be fine. Alrighty.
Okay. If you have any question, comment below. We will happily answer your questions. Don't forget to like, share, watch the full video, and subscribe, and
Ring the bell.
ring the bell. So probably our next video will be about the places we traveled with.
Right. Yeah, we want to be able to show you a bunch of those places. So
See you
won't
in the
have no
next-
fancy drones, but we'll have some pictures.
See you in the next video.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good day, everyone.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon.